Sit back, relax, put your belt on, enjoy the show.
So the following game now on Saturday, I think it's 5 p.m. our time or 5:05 our time Saturday, are the Chiefs versus the Crusaders. In terms of new injuries, we had a Quinn Tapia knee injury. Jack Goodhue, he had a pretty serious looking knee injury. Joe Moody had a foot injury in a big game for him. We had the returns of Lachlan Boshier, who played, well, hopefully we're having the return of Lachlan Boshier after playing club footy last week after his minor foot injury. That would definitely look good in my fantasy side. Hopefully we see Chase Tiatia, Sean Wainui, and Mitch Carpick. Lots of names that may be coming back into this squad.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more settled than that. So first of all, the guys that you mentioned injured, none of them have got their results back from scans yet. So I find it quite interesting that we have three, high-profile rugby players that aren't able to get a scan result by a Wednesday evening. But on top of that, Lachlan Boshier, they said, came through club rugby last week, but they specifically mentioned Chase Tiatia, Sean Wainui, and Mitch Carpick all as available for this week, and Lachlan Boshier got through club rugby. So the wording of it makes me think that maybe they're not actually rushing Boshier back into the side if they're comfortable with the stocks they have, but the other three are definitely in the selection frame this week.
Either way, there's going to be one Boshier.
That's true.
So it's not the one that you have, Nels?
I got both.
Oh, you give, well, there goes my point.
Mean if they start Calum and they drop Lachlan and they don't play Lachlan, you drop Lachlan and just play Calum through?
I reckon you do that, Nels.
Just keep both Boshiers.
Okay. I mean, it worked for you last week, so I can't criticize.
Play the Boshier down.
Last time they played these two, the Crusaders won pretty comfortably, 39-17. So the Chiefs on this one, we talked about the subs that might come in. The loose forwards are the most interesting one for me. So the obvious names are Lachlan Boshier and Mitch Carpick. Kalen Boshier is not a number 7, but played there for them last week. It looks like they're set to play Luke Jacobson as the future captain of the side by all accounts at number 8 moving forward, which means Peter Gus is going to be resigned to the bench. So 6 and 7, what do you guys think? Do you think they could play Lachlan Boshier and Mitch Carpick straight in, or do they stick with what they did with what did I say? Kalen Boshier, Mitchell Brown.
Yeah. Look, I think you're probably right in the sense that we're probably going to see an open side flanker change. I don't see Kalen necessarily getting that chance when you've got two players coming in that could potentially play in that 7s jersey, who are a lot more experienced. Whether we see Mitch Carpick or we see Lachlan Boshier filling that role, I'm not too sure. But I'd be hoping and I'd be expecting it to be Lachlan Boshier. But if they're not confident with him, I mean, Mitch Carpick can definitely get that job done.
Yeah, I resonate those feelings as well, Nels. I'm the same. I think Boshier is probably another week away. It's just my gut feeling. But and then Carpick will probably get the spot, but we'll see how we go.
In the backs, Chase Tiatia, I mean, I said it weeks ago and then he got ill. So I feel like that's the only reason they didn't give me what I wanted already. Surely he starts on one wing. They're just revolving who starts on the right wing. Etene Nanai-Seturo probably starts again. But Jonah Lowe, I thought he was pretty average, to be honest with you, once again. I don't think Shooter's really offering much for them at the moment either. Just start Chase, please. And I'll push on from there, because the interesting one is who partners Anton Leonard-Brown. I think it's pretty fair to say that Quinn Tapia is very unlikely. Sean Wainui started the season at centre. Alex Nankerville's obviously floating around and been on the bench as well. What do you guys think?
It's got to be Nankerville, surely. It's been the everlasting debate that we've always had between Tapia and Nankerville. I think it's Nankerville's turn to step up.
Look, I really want it to be Nankerville. And going off the history of this season, maybe I don't think it will be. I think it'll be Wainui. I also think he's just a little bit more stable and secure in maybe defense as well as attack. He's less likely to throw a silly offload, less likely to make mistakes. And when you're coming up against the Crusaders, you can't make those mistakes.
So
I want to see my boy Nankerville.
You think Wainui is going to slot into 13? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he did at the start of the season. So I tend to agree. Look, I think we all in past seasons have said that we thought Nankerville was a good shot, and we even thought starting this year, he's still with a chance to take over to Paya. But yeah, with Sean Wainui, I mean, Clayton McMillan seems to be a big fan of him, happy to play him at wing or centre. He was pretty solid there to start the year as well. I think it's probably their best option or their safe option at the moment.
Well, I think my feeling is that they're going to slot Nankerville in there and move Wainui to the wing.
Yeah, definitely a good choice as well. Yeah. But, I mean, then there's no Chase Tier, and let's be honest, that's just going to make me sad.
Which is probably what they should do then, because that's great.
Yeah,
seeing you sad, especially after last weekend. How about the Crusaders? So, look, they've got a lot of puzzle pieces to fit into that back three.
Is this your favorite analogy for the Crusaders? I feel like far out every week you talk about puzzles.
They do have so many. It's a 1,000-piece puzzle, that back line. It's not a rookie puzzle.
I think,
it's the best puzzle you could ever. It's the best puzzle you could ever make when it's made, though.
They're more like Mr. Potato Head. It doesn't matter where you put things; it always looks good.
I don't know if that's right. Mr. Potato Head, to be fair. I see what you're getting at. But look, yeah, Lester Fainganuku, he was preferred at outside centre. Came in at outside centre for a lot of that game on the weekend. Preferred to Dallas McLeod in that 13 jersey. Do we expect to see him start in that 13 jersey?
I do.
Yep. Over the place of Goodhue?
Well, Jack Goodhue's obviously
injured.
He's looking for his serious knee injury. So that's why. But Dallas McLeod, I think they've kind of shown their cards and shown that they believe that he's an inside centre. So that means that Lester's obviously your reserve outside and will come into the team.
And he's been just so dominant with ball in hand for them. I mean, get him on the paddock.
If Braden Ennall's at 60%, I'd probably start him.
Really can play at 13 as well, though.
He can't play 12 and 13, though. So
Yeah. True. I'd like that, but he has played 13 in the past.
No, he's played everything. So it'll be interesting to see. Another one, Mikey Alalatoa, a man who's heading offshore at the end of the year, heading over to, I think it's Leinster. Do we think we're going to see him start again? Ollie Jaeger got his first start for a while. Do we think that was a one-off, or has he been building back into this?
Look, I think last year they showed that they were willing to start both of them at times, although Michael Alatoa was the favourite for the bigger games. But the Crusaders are all about consistency and preparing players. Right now, they have the opportunity to do it without actually risking their position in the final of Super Rugby Aotearoa. So it's probably as good a time as any. Give him a couple of starts. Mikey gets a bit of a rest, and then they might maybe bring him back through for the finals or final.
That's fair. You say the same?
Fair enough. I think Mikey will start, but either or. I don't think it really is that much of a difference.
Look, the other one that I had, unpopular opinion here. Everyone's raving about David Avili at 12, but he's a way better fullback. He's had a much bigger impact last year at fullback than he did at 12.
Yeah.
Will Jordan, great player, but, mate, he is not as good this year as he was last year. He is not making the same impact as he was last year. I think that he's a little bit more comfortable. I'll be honest, my top Crusaders team has David Avili at 15, Will Jordan on the bench.
Look, to be brutally honest, that's the same.
So controversial.
When you've got a full team, it's definitely the same for me. You've got Goodhue, you've got Enoa in the centres, and Will Jordan's coming off the bench, unquestionably. So it just depends. You've got to look at your 10, 15, them together. Is that better than if you have Avili at 15 and McLeod at 12?
You're basically talking about, do you start McLeod at 12 or Jordan at 15? But I just think the value that you get with David Avili at 15 is so good, and Will Jordan as an impact player where he's in his development is so much better. It
was like a month ago we were saying David Avili could be the All Blacks 12.
He could be. He's that good, but he's just better at fullback. He makes a bigger impact on the game.
He is better at fullback.
He is better at fullback, but he's influencing these games enormously still, majority of these games.
Look, to a degree, but let's be honest, the Crusaders are half cooked at the moment. they're running around on one league for their standards. They're not looking like the same team. Something is missing in this side, and to me, it's the balance of their back line. Braden Ennell clearly is important. Jack Goodhue missing is now a second dagger, and maybe this means that my theory can't go forward until Jack Goodhue's back or one of them is back. But seriously, they're missing something, and the combination between Richie Moe, David Avili at 10 and 15, Jordan coming on as the impact player, that was their magic last year.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. They were just bringing, flames and fire off the bench, no matter who they brought on or where they brought them on, and they had the ability to move around.
And we've seen Dallas McLeod reminds me a little bit more of Ryan Crotty. He's a bit more understated, but he's solid. They don't need every player to be flashy.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I've said it from early on the season. I picked it, I reckon, round 1 or 2. I thought the Crusaders weren't the same as they have been in previous years. It's very hard to put a finger on it, but maybe it is that balance.
Ennell's not there.
Yeah, Ennell's not there. No, I don't think it's necessarily one person, but it's that balance, I think, is that big thing there. But anyway, we've gone into it a lot. How do you guys see this one playing out?
I dare you to go against the Crusaders.
Okay.
Crusaders, I reckon the Crusaders even though the Chiefs are building and they're going, building a bit of momentum, I still think the Crusaders by about 12.
They've lost another center. I'm saying Chiefs by 3.
I actually don't. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, and I really want to get behind that. I reckon the Crusaders are just somehow going to scrape a win in, and it's going to be 2 points. It's going to be tight, and the Crusaders are going to scrape a win.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I think their pack will just dominate the Chiefs. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's all right. They're pretty good. We know it. You don't need to give them too much credit.